Doing the reading? Huh? You gonna put it all on one, brother? I got you. Revelation 19:15. All right, read that. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword. So out of his mouth going a sharp sword. Whether you want to take this literally or symbolically, it's talking about Yasharahla is going to have the power to just destroy, to just cut and kill. Read. With it, he should smite the nation. So he's going to, now this is literal. He's going to cut down all of the nations with this sword that's coming out of his mouth. Read. And he shall rule them. He's going to be the king, the magistrate, the judge, the supreme ruler. He's going to rule over all of the nations. But a ruler has representatives. Let's see who his representatives are going to be. Read. With a rod of iron. He's going to rule them with the rod of iron. Now, who is the rod of his inheritance? We just saw that in Jeremiah 51:20. Israel, Yasharahla, is the rod of his inheritance. So he's going to use us, you understand, to rule over the nations. We're the rod of his inheritance that he's going to use to rule over the nations. The Hebrew Israelites. All right? Now, you might got some brothers out there that want to talk nice to women, that want to talk hard to women, that want to say that this people got salvation, this people don't got salvation, that say that white people are Gentiles that can be saved, that say that white people that believe are Israelites, but they just white, to say all white people, no matter if they believe or don't believe, are going to be destroyed. The bottom line is this. When it's all said and done, the Most High is going to have the nation of Israel on top of everybody. Period. Ain't going to be no nation sitting beside us in our rulership. You might have different levels of captivity, different levels of mercy. Like Daniel had mercy in Babylon. Okay, like Esther had mercy under a house arrest in the Persian Mede Empire. Okay, it's going to be different levels of mercy that are going to be extended. All right, on a case-by-case basis. Everybody, some people are going to have nursing mothers and nursing fathers. And some, the sons of the strangers, are going to be building the walls. All right, so now he says out of his mouth goes a sharp sword. He's going to smite the nation and rule the nations with a rod of iron. Israel, Yasharahla, is the rod of his inheritance. Read. And he treadeth the wide press of the fierceness and wrath of the Almighty power. So the wrath and the fierceness of the Almighty power, Yahweh, he's going to tread that, which is a direct link up to when you go to the book of Isaiah. Let's hold that real quick. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 63. We're going to go to Isaiah 63 dealing with the wine press. And then we're going to go to, there was something in Psalms that linked up also. Tread the wine press, ruling with a rod of iron. Daniel. We're going to go to Daniel also. So let's read, where you at? Isaiah 63. Isaiah 63, start from the top of the verse, please. Top of the chapter. Who is this that cometh from Edom? Who is this that's coming from the territory of the so-called European? Who is this coming from Edom, right? Who is this guy? Is it him? Is it somebody that looks like him? Yes, it is. It's this guy, Yahushua, that's coming from Edom. You feel me? Who is this that's coming from Edom? Go ahead. With dyed garments from Boaz. This that is glorious in his apparel. This that is glorious in his apparel coming from Basra. What is Basra? Basra was one of the chief cities of the nation of Edom. All right. So now, let's keep reading. Traveling in greatness of his strength. Traveling in greatness of his strength. It's going to be a big spectacle when he comes from Edom. Why? What's that chapter up? In Matthew 25:31, right? Matthew 25, it talks about he's coming with the clouds of heaven. All right? Now, before the judgment comes and he separates the sheep from the goat, he coming with clouds to bring judgment on the world. All right? Which we go into the book of Zechariah. We ain't got to go there. When you go to Zechariah chapter 5, it talks about that roll, which is the curse, which is the so-called chariots, which are the chariots, rather, the clouds that the Bible speaks of, which people mistakenly call UFOs, but they're not UFOs. When you go to Ezekiel chapter 1, it talks about the chariots and the clouds moving in a circle coming from the north. Write all these things down, right? Write all these scriptures down and go back and research. When you go into the book of Exodus chapter 24, all right? We're gonna come right back to this Isaiah 63. When you go to Exodus chapter 24, I want to bring this out real quick. Exodus chapter 24, verse 18. Read that.
Thou shalt not offer the blood of my sacrifice.
Exodus 24:18.
Oh, right.
So now, what chapter were you in?
Chapter 23. This is 24.
So 23:18 talks about 3 times a year offering the fat. Don't offer the fat of my offering with leavened bread. Neither shall the fat of my sacrifice remain in the morning. All right. So when we break this down real quick, since you went to it. The leavening, you understand, represents sin. When you go into the books of that Paul wrote, the leavening represents sin. That means when you're doing something for the Most High, basically to take the wisdom from the verse that the brother pulled out mistakenly in Exodus 23:18. Let's put the wisdom of this into this lesson. When you offering something and giving something to the Most High, don't have leavening with it. Leavening represents sin, wickedness, negativity. When you're in this program of the Most High, you all the way in it. Ain't no backing out of it or doing it halfway. You either hot or you cold. If you lukewarm, the Most High is going to spew you out of his mouth. All right? Neither shall the fat of my sacrifice remain until the morning. He wanted everything to be burnt up before sunrise. All right? So you got a short time period to do the work of the Most High, to do what he wants to be done. All right? With his sacrifice, when you especially look at doing the Pesach, he said burn everything before the morning comes. All right? So that's, bringing out a little bit of wisdom from the verse that the brother went to. Don't offer the blood with leavened bread. The sacrifice. Don't sacrifice to the Most High with sin. The leavening represents sin. The sacrifice means being dedicated, being consecrated to the Most High. So that's the wisdom from that verse right there. Now let's go to Exodus 24:18. Read.
And Moses went into the midst of the cloud.
Now this guy Moses, what is his name? His name is Masha. All right? And Masha was like a ruler over all of Israel. Masha was a ruler over Yasharahla. All right? Now the scriptures say that in the last days, the Most High said that David is going to be risen up as a king over Israel. All right? So as we had a leader coming out of Egypt the first time, and then in Hosea chapter 1, it talks about we're going to appoint ourselves one head. In the book of Ezekiel, it talks about we're going to have King David is going to be among us again. Now some people try to interpret this as Yahushua, Christ, all right? But understand what the Bible says. The Bible says that David is going to be with us in the wilderness. Do a quick search, go on Blue Letter Bible, wherever you got to go to, put in David and wilderness, and you'll see that David is going to be with us in the wilderness, in the desert, wherever the Most High is going to plead with us when you read in the book of Ezekiel chapter 20, right? But Yahushua said, if any man tell you that I am in the desert, believe it not. So how is this David going to be Yahushua in the wilderness with us? If Yahushua said, I'm not going to be in the wilderness. Next time I come, I'm coming with the clouds of heaven. So Yahushua is not going to be this David that's going to be in the wilderness with Yasharahla. That's a lie. That's not the truth. The Bible does not support that false teaching. So anyway, back to Exodus 24:18. It says, Masha went into the midst of a cloud. All right? So first off, if he's in a cloud, how did he know where the middle of it is? That's like saying you're in the middle of a fog. How do you know when you get to the middle of it, it's foggy? You can't see the end of the fog. All right? So say he went to the midst of the cloud, read,
and got him